Welcome back, everyone. We're going to be continuing with our solution to the CHICV spreadsheet that was issued in 2016. We have already calculated what the registration fee would be and the cost of the blood handling fee. Now we're going to be calculating the doctor's fee. Now, according to the instructions on the SBA, the doctor's fee is dependent on the type of health center. So if it's health center type 1, there's a specific fee. Type 2, a different fee, and type 3, a different fee. And it's all recorded here in the fees table. So if you click on the fees sheet, inside of that, you will see a section that has the code for each of the different types of health center and the fees that the person will pay if they went to that particular center. So we're going to be using a function called the Vlookup function that will help us to go to that sheet and to select the fees that the person will pay depending on which health center they actually attended. So we're going to enter Vlookup. So we're going to be searching for something. We're going to be searching for the health center type. So the code is T1. Where are we going to be searching for it? Put a comma, and then we're going to be searching for it in the fees sheet. So we click on fees, and then we go to the section that has the first code, and we highlight it all the way down to the last one. So it's going to be from B4 all the way down to C6, and that's the section of the sheet we're going to be searching for that particular code. Now, if you look at the sheet, you'll see that the cost or the fee that is paid based on the code or the type of health center is in actually column 2 of that section that we highlighted. So we're going to type 2 here, close the bracket, and then when we press enter, the fees for that person who went to the T1 health center will now be paying $1,550, which is correct based on what we know in the table, in that fee sheet. Now we're going to be copying the formula now. But before we can copy the formula down, there's something extremely important that we must do. We must make the cells that cover the section of the fees table with the values and the codes, we're going to have to make that absolute. By doing that, when we copy the formula down, it will not change as you go from one cell to the next. When you make the cells absolute, you always point to that cell when you're copying the formula down. So here goes. To make the cell absolute, we're going to put a $sign before the B, a $sign before the 4, because we don't want it to change from that location when we're searching the table. And we're going to do the same thing for the end of the table. A $sign before the C and a $sign before the 6. So that makes that part of the sheet absolute. Now that we have made it absolute, we can copy the formula down to the other cells, all the way down to the last patient, and automatically the actual fee that they will pay based on which health center they attended or was a part of will be in the cell. Now the next thing to do is to copy, and we need to find out what the total cost is. So the total cost is going to be the registration fee plus the blood handling fee plus the doctor's fee. So let's total that. Now to total values in a cell, we need to use the sum function. S equals SUM, and then we're going to specify the cells that we're going to be, with the information we're going to be adding together. So in our case, it's from cell L3 all the way over to N3. And then we close the bracket and press enter, right? And we get the total amount that that person will have to pay, the total cost of that visit. Now we copy the formula down. It's no problem. We don't need to make this absolute because we want the values to change in the formula as we move from one row to the next. Now in this case, we have added all of the values so we know the total cost of this visit. Now, the insurance company pays a certain percentage of the total cost depending on what your insurance company specified. So if you were a member of the MG insurance company, according to the fees table, then they will be paying 80% of their cost. If you're a member of Medisure, you'll be paying 70% of the cost. And in a similar way, Warden will be paying 75%, but if you have no insurance, then there is no coverage for you, so that's zero. Now we're going to enter a formula here that will help us to pick out the information from that table and calculate what that person will pay, that in-person's insurance will be paying from the total fees. So we're going to now be looking in the fees table for what is the rate that they're going to be paying based on the insurance company. So we're going to use a VLOOKUP again. I'm going to equal VLOOKUP. What are we looking for? We're looking for which insurance company this person is associated with. So we're going to go to the column that has insurance code and click on the first code. Where are we searching for that? We're searching for it in the fees table, and it is in column F4 that you have all of the rates all the way down to column G6. And which column of this section, of this little section that we've highlighted, has the rate? It is the section that has column 2. So we type 2 here, right? And we close bracket, right? And that will give you the rate that you're going to be using to calculate how much the insurance company is going to be paying. So now you have to multiply that value, right, by the total fees that that person paid. So the total fees is going to be equal to whatever percentage the insurance paid multiplied by the total cost. And here we have it. So 80% is paid for this person because they are with the insurance company that has a code of MG. Now, as usual, we want to copy this formula down to the other cells, but before we do that, we must make a particular part of the spreadsheet absolute, and that's where you have the table of values that you're going to be, that has the rates listed, and that's from F4 all the way down to G7. So we put a $sign in front of the F, a $sign in front of the 4, and the other part is G7. So it's a $sign before the G and a $sign before the 7, and that makes it absolute. Now what you're going to do now is to copy this formula down to the last person in the sheet. And as you copy it down, you'll notice that the values don't change in the row. They go straight back to the table and pick out the values. So here you have all of the values. Okay, let's do this again. All of the patients and how much their insurance company will pay based on the total cost of their visit. Now what we're going to do next is to find out how much it is that each patient will pay. All right, so then this patient is going to be paying the other 20%. So it's equal to the total cost minus whatever the insurance company pays. So there we have it. So this patient will only be paying $512 because their insurance company pays 8% of the cost. All right. So we're going to copy this formula down, and that being copied all the way down to the last person will allow us to see how much the patient will have to pay. So what we're going to do next is to total the different columns, and we want to make sure that our spreadsheet is looking very professional. So what we're going to do is to just go over to A1, make sure that we can see all the information in the sheet. Good, we can see that. Over here we may want to make it a little wider, so we go to the top of the column and drag the cell across, drag the thing across, and You may want to make this centered, so we can come here and we can center align the heading. All right, let's go up and see what it looks like. And we can actually go ahead and insert a column, insert a row above that will help us to put a heading for what we are dealing with, which is the calculation of patient's sheet. So we're going to insert, what we're going to insert is a row. All right, we're going to insert a row. Actually, go into the formatting, the home section, and then we're going to go to insert, and we're going to insert rows, right? And it's going to be above where we have these values already entered. So we're going to go in that cell, and in that cell, what we're going to do is type, right? We're going to type calculation of patient fees. All right, and then we're going to make the text a little larger because it's a heading. All right, so we're going to come here, we're going to go into the formula bar, we're going to choose a bigger text size. That's not too bad. We're going to make it centered, and one of the things that we can do is to merge and center these rows so that we can have the title spread all across the different headings. So we're going to go into home, and we're going to go merge and center, and if you would like, you can put a fill color to make your sheet look very professional. You can choose a color of your liking. So what we are going to do now is to total all the columns that have information. So what we're going to do here is type total, and then we're going to go across and total all the cells that have information in it, or numeric values in it. So we're going to total, first of all, the registration fees. So of course, that's going to be using the sum function. So we're going to sum all of these values all the way up to the first person, and then close bracket and press enter. Good. Now we're going to copy this formula across to the other columns, right? Straight across, and find the total of those two. All right, so here we go. We have a total, okay, we have one more column, a total of all these columns that represent the amount that was spent, right, or charged for each type of expense that they had in the project. All right, we also want to make sure that the formatting is consistent, so we're going to put borders around the section. All right, borders around the section so that our sheet can look very professional. So we're going to go home, and we're going to go to the section with borders and fill it in. All right, we're going to stop here today. Next time we meet, we're going to be looking at how to create sheet number 3, patient info 3, and how to come up with a solution to that. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.